I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, not a month goes by now. I've had this blog for 11 years and had my book out on Amazon for the past 5. Every month I'm getting several wonderful letters from people, sometimes more, telling me that they've been watching my blog for years and it's made a huge difference in their life. They bought my book 2 or 3 years ago, took some of the advice I had in my book and have put it into action, and their life is completely different now. So I've had a couple of really fantastic letters recently. I get a couple every month. Sometimes I'll get 4 or 5. It's really incredible. And these are from all over the place, not just Vancouver. I get these letters from people living in other parts of Canada, the United States, Europe, everywhere. That's the power of Amazon and selling these books now. They can go anywhere. But I had a couple of really nice ones recently, and it's kind of the same story here with this particular guy. He tells me that he bought my book along for the ride. I'll plug it here. Why not? Available on Amazon now. It's still a top seller. Bought it a couple of years ago, and he was kind of a cork out on the ocean, like I often describe, not a whole lot of direction. He took some of the things in my book, started paying himself first, and in the last 3 years here, he's built up a 6-figure portfolio. Now, obviously, he's making some pretty decent money. He's got the fuel to start paying himself first, but he's built up a nice dividend portfolio that's paying him, a quarterly dividend. In most cases, these checks could be coming in monthly, depending on how many companies you own. But he's yielding pretty close to 4%, he says. He's just recently bought his first condo, got the 20% down, and is enjoying that. The other nice thing he told me here too, which I'd love to hear here, he says, my spare time now, it's used to become a better person than the next day. It now includes weightlifting and reading books, and the first book I bought along for the ride, set me on that course. Those are the things I'd love to hear. You've been watching my blogs, what I call optimizing your life. Pay yourself first, get your principal residence, get in sooner rather than later, and just keep the damn house. Enjoy it, pay it down. You're locking in a 1.5% interest rate, so that $2,400 a month you were paying for rent, now the $2,400 is going towards your mortgage payment, of which probably about $1,800 of that every month is going straight off the principal. You're creating equity 2 ways. You're paying down the principal every month and doing a lot of damage to it at our current interest rates. And then over time, not every year, there'll be good years and not so good years. But I can guarantee over the next 10 or 15 years, if that house will be worth a lot more than what you paid for it today. So you're creating equity 2 ways. Then, of course, he's taken my other advice on my blogs here and in my book in Chapter 8. I talk about optimizing your life. Tune out all the noise and the news and all the wanting to get you into a fear cocoon, and spend that time doing productive things, reading and learning, getting better in your job or your career, getting more sleep, eating better, exercising for sure. These are all these things tie together, and they'll especially pay dividends for you as you get into your older years and get used to staying in shape and getting enough sleep and getting the proper nutrition. He also, what I like to hear too, he says, he's salivating over the current market here, the stock market, where the Nasdaq sold off by 22%, and he was using that as a buying window. This is what I love to hear. I was doing the same thing. If you follow me on Twitter, I tweet out a lot of the times some of the companies I'm topping up on, like the Estee Lauders and the Apples and Amazons when they go on sale. If you like, Amazon at $3,000 a share, you're really going to like it at $2,600. So those are the things. He's a good student, obviously, with this letter he sent me. And I had a couple of others as well. Another guy wrote me a letter. He had bought his first property about 6 months ago, and he says it's made a huge difference in his life. He talks, what I've talked about, the intangibles of owning real estate. And not a lot of people understand this. Financially, it's the best decision you're going to make. But I've brushed on it a few times before. It's also the intangibles of becoming a homeowner. You're now off that renter's treadmill. You're not living like a gypsy, because that's how tenants live. You have to admit to it. You never know when you're going to get that phone call from your landlord saying, hey, I'm going to sell the home, or my daughter's going to move into it, and you've got to be out in 30 days or 60 days. Once you become a homeowner, it's like a comfort blanket has been put on you. That money you were paying for rent is now knocking off your principal. You're also riding the market up, and you're going to get appreciation on the home. But the other things are, you're not at the whim of your landlord. You're not getting rent increases. You're not getting evicted for a renoviction, or the owner's going to sell the home. You've got pride of ownership there. You know that no matter how the year goes, you're doing more every year you're paying down that debt on the principal residence. You're enjoying the home. You can spend a little extra money to fix up the kitchen or renovate a bathroom, put some sweat equity into it. You know, that can never be taken away from you. Being a tenant can be taken away from you like that. And then you've got to go into the rental market again and find another place, and rents are all going up, and you're competing against other tenants for the prime properties. It's not a fun position to be in. You know, nothing wrong with renting short term, like I've often said. While you're saving for the down payment, or when you first move to the city, you're not sure how long you're going to stay, because home ownership is a long-term commitment, 8 to 10 years minimum. If you can't hold the property for at least 8 years, then don't buy. Just stay renting, but hopefully you've got to make that commitment pretty soon, because renting is not going to get you anywhere, as you guys know. But you know, there's so many intangibles with real estate. You're creating equity. It's like it's a huge financial hurdle you've crossed once you've bought your principal residence. The tough part, though, by far, is saving for the down payment, getting that 10 or 15 or hopefully 20% down so you can avoid the CMHC insurance, which is expensive. Once you're in, it's smooth sailing after that. Your monthly mortgage payments, even as interest rates start to go up here over the next year or 18 months, they're still going to be far better off than renting. Interest rates would need to get up to 8-9% before anyone can start the conversation about I rent and save the difference. Until interest rates get up to 8 or 9%, don't even bother with it, especially when you add in all the intangibles. You know, the comfort you have, the stability you have. You're not at the whim of your landlord. You're creating equity two ways, paying down the debt, capital appreciation over time. Plus, let's throw in the principal residence exemption. The only true tax shelter we get, other than the TFSA, but you're at a $5,500 minimum increase or deposit on your TFSA. It's a joke. RRSPs are great, but it's all taxable when you pull it out. Principal residence exemption has created more millionaires and multimillionaires in this country than everything else combined. Take advantage of these things. Get off that renter treadmill, especially if you're renting right now and watching my blog here. Again, you should be doing everything you can to get into the housing market if you want to stay in Vancouver. If you think you might move in a few years, stay renting. But you have to get off that renter treadmill. You're going to be devastated financially. Once you've got the down payment, it's smooth sailing after that. But thank you to all my new subscribers on YouTube. Thanks for everyone that's writing me letters or sending me text messages saying they enjoy my blog or they bought my book and reviewed it. This has been the door opener for them. This is why I wrote this. This is a pay it forward thing for me, for sure. I get lots of business off this blog as well, lots of clients, which is great too, but it's not the main reason I do it. The main reason I do it is to give back, educate you on, I've been there and done it, and it can be done, and it's not difficult, and it's not complicated. It's one of the easiest things you can do. You just, pay yourself first, get your principal residence, get your money working for you in low-cost ETFs, index investing, and then spend that time worrying about markets and the Fed and inflation and oil prices and global conflicts and everything else. It's not going to make any difference to your real estate or your stock portfolio over time. Instead, use that time to read more books, work out like this guy's doing, and investing in the stock market. It'll pay off incredibly for you over the long term. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.